What's up, YouTube? So today is July 5th, 2022. I'm back at you with another video. So I want to talk about a certain subject, about some of these mass shooters. Many of these mass shooters are incels. Now, incel culture is a big problem in America, but there's one thing I want to talk about because I don't hear other people talk about the same thing. We all have the definition of an incel. It's usually a guy who has a hard time getting laid. He usually fits certain stereotypes, like he doesn't have good hygiene. He has a strong hatred for women. He spends a lot of time playing video games. Probably lives at home with his parents. Not unemployed, but underemployed. The loser type guy who blames all of his problems on other people. He doesn't attract women and blames women for his problems. But one thing that some people may not seem to realize is that there's a lot of female incels as well. You have a lot of women out here who are actually incels, but it's not recognized. See, when you listen to some of these incels, some of these guys who complain about women, you notice that women have the same complaints about men. They almost say the exact same thing, almost perfectly. See, the difference is the women, they may be able to get laid. They can get laid. The complaint that they have is they cannot get a man to commit to her or want to marry her or take her seriously. And instead of her taking responsibility and looking at herself, she blames everyone else. She blames the men. So you have women who get, they get with a man who sleeps with her and may not want anything to do with her later on and then complain about it. But many times it's probably something that she has done. She may have, I don't want to go through the things that she's done, but most of the time she'll blame other people for her own issues. And you have many women who are actually incels. That's incel energy. What they'll do is they'll develop this hatred for men because the man doesn't want to commit to her and so forth. And that's exactly what an incel is. You have a lot of female incels. In fact, you may have more women who are incels than men. I think that it's probably started with women, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think that it started with women, and there's actually more women who are incels than anywhere else. Think about it, right? You go to a church, you have a lot of single women inside the church who haven't been with a man in a long time. They may have slept with a man, but they haven't been in a committed relationship in a long time. If you go on some of these online platforms with women who are looking for a man and you hear her backstory, she hasn't had a man in years, right? She may have been intimate, but not actually been in a relationship in a long time. Some of them have these crazy standards that they want from men that the men have to have to acquire, but she can't seem to get the man that she wants. But I think a lot of times it's a cover-up. I think some of these women who have these very high standards, I think many of them in reality, they are unable to attract the type of man that they want. So what they do is they create these extremely high standards as a way to cover up for her ability to attract a man. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if a woman has been single for 5-10 years, instead of her admitting that there might be something wrong with her, she'll create these incredibly high standards and say, well, he has to make this amount of money, which may be unreasonable. He had all these unreasonable standards as a way to cover up. These high standards is really a cover-up, in my opinion. That's what it really is. That's what I think. And over time, or the whole time, they're really an incel. They're really an incel. You have a lot of women who are incels. This strong hatred for men and turning lesbian and I don't need a man. And what it is, it's anger from it's anger that comes from the inability to really attract and keep, well, not attract the man, but keep the type of man that she wants. Like I said before, the difference between the males and the females is the male incels, their problem is they can't get laid. For the female incels, they can get laid, but they are unable to get a man to stay committed to her and take her seriously. And that's where the anger comes from. That's incel energy. You know, like the like the cat lady stereotype. The woman who owns a lot of cats or owns a lot of pets. It's incel type energy. It's very real, and it's funny because people are not talking about. I really think that feminism is I don't want to say first wave feminism, but I think maybe because feminism today is not the same as it was back when it first started, like in the 60s. Feminism today has a lot of incel energy. They call it fem cells, FEM, incel, fem cells. It's the same energy, you know. It's just I think they express it a little differently. Fem cells, they may not play video games and have bad hygiene like the guys do, but it's definitely there. They definitely it shows in different ways. So yeah, that's all I want to say.